it was descending into farce long before we even had the first hearing. I think it cost around £85 million before the first hearing. The estimates now is that the cost could exceed £500 million. We know that it is going to be extremely expensive. We know that it is going to last a very long time. What we don't know is if it's going to answer or even ask any of the really important questions, like why did the first lockdown endure beyond the 3 weeks? Was the idea of the first lockdown not to squash the sombrero? Why was it that lockdown sceptics were shut down? Why did the government continue with banning outdoor meeting once they knew that transmission risks were extremely low? These are really important questions. Why weren't there thorough impact assessments of the cost of lockdown, of what the economic and social cost would be, even if we were able to prevent some people from dying of the coronavirus? Was lockdown, really blunt policy tool actually necessary at all? Because we saw countries like Sweden presenting citizens with the information and allowing them to take and judge risks, perhaps according to their own health conditions and so on and so forth. And why didn't we have that here in the UK? But instead, the COVID inquiry is beginning to look like less scrutiny and more scapegoating. So yesterday, what we did have were the left-wing shibboleths being trotted out about Brexit being to blame for
I couldn't believe Brexit got a mention in the first day. I mean, that was incredible.
It really was. Perhaps we ought to have seen it coming. Austerity was also mentioned, that austerity that we saw after the 2010 general election, although actually funding to Public Health England for the prevention of infectious diseases actually increased over that period. So to say that it was stripped of funding and therefore unable to deal with the pandemic when it arrived on our shores is simply wrong. So lots of questions that need to be asked, and yet here we are focusing on Brexit, on austerity. We know that the bereaved families are going to be placed at the heart of this COVID inquiry. The chair, Baroness Hallett, has said as much. And that suggests to me that we're not going to have some kind of cool and calm, thorough analysis of lockdown, whether it is necessary, whether the costs and the benefits have been adequately weighed up, but rather some kind of group therapy exercise with some virtue signalling added to it.